audio levels are good. Actually, let me move my microphone over here. I have an old cup of coffee that's sitting on my desk. That is a little gross. Honestly, never mind. My desk is actually just very gross right now. Hold on, I'm gonna put all the schmutz on here. And the next time... The next time I go to get water, I'm gonna throw all this trash away. I got some candles lit. That's like the good thing that's going on. Especially since I really wasn't feeling good the past couple days. Yay. But I feel a little better tonight. Okay. Now everything is going to be at least 30% cleaner than how it was. That'll be perfect. I did rewatch a little bit of my last VOD. I kind of felt like necessary to kind of make sure the ball was still rolling with this whole kind of Act 2 bit. And I got water, which is good. But I'm just gonna say, let's just jump right back into it. I have not played this since, what, 6 days? It's been 6 days. Too long. Too long. The witch could no longer be seen. I've been missing this for the whole time. However, Cannon felt like he could still hear that shrill, unpleasant laugh. I agree, she does have a really annoying laugh. I have to like... Ah, how amusing. How truly amusing. Why is the human world still so amusing after all the years I've been away? Go mad with love, go mad with gold. Those who don't go mad from one of the two are not human. I see, that's why the word furniture is so fitting. Cackle, cackle. Furniture is created to serve humans, and I cruelly treat humans as playthings to sate my 1,000 years of boredom. What a truly amusing three-way deadlock that I cannot control furniture. Kinzo, you fool! What a truly entertaining scheme you've worked out. Furniture, you fools. Just try and see if you can fell me. Tonight, 2 seeds of love have been sown, including the one already sown. That makes 3. This just seems... Including the one already sown, that makes 3. I'm gonna guess that's Kinzo and Beatrice. Beatrice, why did you leave me alone in this painful world? I hate you. I will hate you for all eternity for not even trying to answer, despite being yearned for so. Master, drinking any more will be damaging to your health. Dr. Nanjo warned you as well, did he not? Be silent, Genji. You do not understand. You do not understand my grief and sadness. And I believed at least you, my oldest friend, would understand my pain. God, he's being so extra already. Is it really a good stream if I'm not doing a yawn? Clearly not. Why can you not understand? Oh, Beatrice, why did you leave me all alone? Ellipses. Ah! What the hell do you mean, furniture? I don't get it. Ah! Oh, poor Jessica-sama. Even though the cries... What does this look like in... Even though the cries I hear coming from your room tell me the situation, there's nothing I can do. This is all just a tragedy due to a pair who are too young getting too close and the positions of their birth are too distant. I can do nothing but understand my lady's feelings, hide my footsteps, and quietly walk away. Man, everybody's having a rough time. But what? Do you mean by that, George-san? I mean what I said. I still haven't built up my castle. Once I manage to do that, I'll finally be able to think of myself as an adult. When that happens, I want to marry you. That's, But my heart won't let me do that anymore. So I want to give you an engagement ring. Engagement, you say? But, furniture. Oh, right, that. Well then, furniture has to listen to what people say, right? Right now, I'm having a ring made that'll be fitting for you. I think it'll be ready in the time for me to bring it to my upcoming family conference. She knew? Okay, so first of all, not only did he freaking break the fact that he was gonna engage her. I'll give it to you then, so please, I want to let me hear your real answer. He told her beforehand? Dog. If you accept, then I'll proclaim our engagement right there in front of all the relatives, including grandfather. George-san. Oh my god, he's getting close to her. Get away. Get away. I'm sure some people won't approve of our relationship, but there's no need to look at their faces. Oh, man. Because you only have to fill your eyes with me. I will definitely bring you happiness. That's the one thing I can promise you with certainty. Oh, God. Oh, God. What the fuck is happening? I just can't wait to see how it will ripen. The gold butterflies do not swoop upon the juice of the overripe and rotting fruit. I cannot wait for the day of harvest to come. Is the time of the banquet here yet? Ha 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 ha. October 4th, 1986, the first day. Wait, was that the day of the family conference? I'm gonna go back and check. I think it was the day of the first conference. I think it was after the scene with these two idiots. Oh, it is the same day. We're back here. That's so weird. They had eaten breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Maria had seemed to be awfully pleased by that. That's cute. For quite some time, she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan in the 1980s. Maybe today they're kind of cooler with it. The shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins, but the costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying, "Trick or treat," were nowhere in sight. Ugh! I want a Halloween festival. I don't want to wear these clothes. I want to look like a witch. Ugh! Ugh, the family conference isn't for playing. We're going to meet grandfather, so you have to dress up nice. While it wasn't completely full inside the train, it was really packed, with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria still hadn't obeyed at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how much you tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give it into her at times like this. But that had probably been a mistake. Surely, Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then, she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. Halloween! Halloween! If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. I don't have any sweets to give you. We just ate breakfast, dog. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Ugh. Ugh. A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria. Ugh, I got a sweet. I got a sweet. Look, look, mama. Happy Halloween. Oh, God. Hey, Maria, you can't just accept sweets from strangers, right? Give it back. Oh, don't worry about it. Ho, ho, ho. She's such a spirited young lady. How old is she? Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating. Maria, haven't I always told you not to accept sweets from strangers? Ugh! Ugh! She gave it to me! Ugh! No, it's mine! Let go of it! How many times do I have to tell you to do what Mama says? It's mine! Mine! Ugh! Ugh! I really don't need, I was not, okay, yep. Oh shit. Don't I always tell you not to say, ugh! Ugh! Maria reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to them. Please do not just give sweets to my daughter. I'm so sorry. Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. Getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. She is such a bitch. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up, she was crying and shouting with her nose dripping, and there was many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again, but she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At that moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for This is so awful. I can't do this. This is so bad. Oh gosh. I had that like take a fiver. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying. Okay, yep. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck, dragged her, tugging at her hair. Ugh. 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 Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Ugh. This is really fucked up. Didn't I just Didn't I tell you to shut up? That of yours, I told you to stop. That's the reason you can't make friends in class, right? Get a hold of yourself. Why are you still a kindergartner inside your head? Why can't you do what Mama says? Why? Why? With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted. Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Mama, save me. Mama, save me. Ugh. Why can't you stop saying ugh? This is exactly why you can't make friends. This is why Papa's business trip never ends. This is why excuse me, ma'am, is everything alright? Do you want something? The one who timidly called to her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt into the problems of a mother and child, stranger." Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she had imagined. Her emotional scolding had led to the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out to her. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore since they'd be getting on the next train. And then finally, or rather for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Yeah, no shit. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely. I did it again. As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she had surrendered her soul to evil again. Mama, 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 come back. Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus. Maria, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't... Whatever. And then she freaking hit her the same freaking day. Whatever, like... That's so bad. So bad. Yeah, it's just... It's a little fucked up. That's where we are. Yep. Definitely not upset at all about that. Welcome back. Welcome back. Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest. Forgive your bad mama. Forgive your bad mama. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate your mama. I'm just fine. Won't hate mama. Mama was being possessed by the bad witch again. What the fuck? But you came back, so I'm just fine. Yeah, that's right. Mama was just being possessed by the bad witch again. I'm sorry. For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down, and both moved back at the same time. Oh god, you chose definitely the most dialogue scene to pop in and say hi into. Oh my god, she was just beating the shit out of Maria. It was really fucked up. After a while, they calmed down and both moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rose's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out. And maybe the fact that she was like slapping the shit out of her daughter. I don't know. Do you want to have a Halloween festival, Maria? Yeah. I wanted to show those pumpkin marshmallows to George Oni-chan and Jessica One-chan. It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they'd eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of a stick. That does sound pretty good. Maria wanted it, and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast. Damn, why not? Then Maria, I don't know if they sell those in this town or not, but let's go off and try searching for them, okay? Yeah. I love you, Mama. Love you so much. Thank you. I love you too, Maria. That's funny considering the image on Twitter I saw. That... Oh, what? Oh, that's hilarious. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? That's absolutely freaking crazy that that's what you send, and then that's like the first scene I have to deal with is freaking just beating her freaking the shit out of her daughter at the train station. Oh my gosh. What the fuck? Okay. Yep. Definitely an Umineko type of night. Oh, wait. Okay. The truth was that they didn't have time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she'd ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning. She looked at the clock. They had to get onto the next train immediately, but her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa, as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Maria. To her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria would probably be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup. Maybe we won't find a marshmallow that exactly like that one, but hopefully we can find something like it. Let's buy some and surprise all your cousins together. Yeah. As long as we buy it together, any sweet is fine. They exited through the turnstiles of the station of this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together needs to be rewritten because it has cross and cross, and that's just kind of weird. Together with her mother, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red. The two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at Okay, this is really just... Are we forgetting the fact that there's a mother and a daughter here? I don't know. And then she beat the shit out of her the same freaking day. About the roses. That's fucked up. Dear, what are you doing in a place like this? Oh, it's you. It's nothing. I just find this a pleasant place to think. All of our preparations for today have been completed. Why don't we have some tea and relax while we wait? Forgive me. I'm always making you handle such troublesome matters. Please, rely on me even more. I am your wife. Naturally, I'm grateful to have you always coming to my aid. That's precisely why I'm able to devote myself to my work. I understand. I understand about your work. And the topic of father's inheritance, right? That has nothing to do with you. It's nothing more than fishing for rotten meat amongst greedy siblings. It's okay, dear. Everything will go well. Your businesses have never failed to work themselves out, except all the times that they have. Natsui softly cuddled close to Krause's shoulder. She complimented Krause on his hard work, but Natsui knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. Krause's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs, but like large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you'd only do that if you were confident that you'd be able to recover all your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaws Krause chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times are moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed in a park. It's a really popular item, so there's always someone playing on it. And you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of those seesaws that was completely unused, and you raced to grab it first, and you have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you probably wouldn't be able to play on it. What if lots of time passed and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Krause noticed something. He would have lost all his money to NFTs if he was alive today. Kinzo, it's called the blockchain. You wouldn't get it. I own this picture of an ape, Kinzo. It's mine. This is my monkey picture, Kinzo. But Krause noticed something. The weather's getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated his place because of the worsening weather, it would certainly be snatched away. I thought he sold a lot of his assets and kind of made back not a lot. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently, all alone. That was Krause's project and his current situation. If only I'd had a bit more courage and the self-confidence to believe in my own foresight, I would never have failed. Yes, that's true. Your foresight is never wrong. You are the only one who inherited father's resourcefulness. You inherited an innate disposition that none of the other siblings did. But I could never believe in it. I always shut my own projects down like a coward. Why can't I believe in myself? Who would believe in a man who can't believe in himself? Nobody believes. I'm always sitting on the seat where the loser must sit, and my father, my mother, my siblings, they all sneer at me. How long is it going to take for me to be set free of this emotional complex? Just how long will it take? Natsui was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Krause's anguish. As the eldest son of the Ashiramiya family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises. I've made preparations concerning all of the matters so that you will be able to devote your attention entirely to the family conference. Yes, everything else has been seen to. We're getting a lot of like short dialogue scenes this time. I'm noticing there's not a bunch of really long ones. We're kind of jumping back and forth to like different perspectives. Like the day of the conference, which I guess is interesting, is the first day, and getting more background on that. I'll see you in Valhalla. Why did I say that? Thank you. Will there be any problems dealing with father? No. Genji and Dr. Nanjo are on our side. I'll never allow those greedy siblings to make contact with father. Interesting. Hello. Go to here. Yes, please, leave it all to me. I'm anxious to put my skills to work for the big annual job. In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally, he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference, he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year. Yes, dinner will be calf steak. A wonderful cut of meat is already anxiously awaiting for tonight in the refrigerator. Please be sure to look forward to dinner. It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Goda bragged about being the Yoshiramiya family's personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor. Understood. I will leave everything to you. Also, is Kumasawa there? Kumasawa-san? I happened to see her earlier, but she's not here. Perhaps she went to get things ready in the guest house. Is she loafing around again? No, it's fine. Please continue with your work. Yes, leave everything to me. Kono Gora da! Okay, so I guess they were talking on the phone. Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again, thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again, even... I think you're busy. And the ostentatious Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day where he could show off. Yeah, Goda is a jagoff. Excuse me. The preparations for all the rooms in the guest house are complete. We received instructions from Milady to prepare a room for 4 people so that the children can spend the night together. So what shall we do? I hear Battler-sama will be coming for the first time in 6 years. Presumably, Milady still wants to stay up late into the night with her 3 cousins. Make the preparations. You do not need to tell Madam. Interesting. I see. Certainly. So tonight we'll have the late night shift, followed immediately by the morning shift. Or was Cannon? I forget if Cannon was in the guest house the night of the murders or if he was in the mansion. Kumasawa was in the guest house. Shannon was in the mansion. Goto was in the mansion. I think Genji was also in the guest house, but I don't remember where Cannon was. So tonight we'll have our late night shift, followed immediately by the morning shift. I do remember there being a conversation about that. I think he's telling, yeah. It looks like these 2 days will be tiresome. I remember like it being mentioned that Cannon like hadn't slept. Speaking of which, the weather forecast is saying a typhoon will strike in this area. Will everything be alright? Assuming the typhoon doesn't stray too far from its course, it may affect the boat ride back for the family members. The family conference's schedule might be extended until Monday or Tuesday. Our task may be a long and tiring one, but I earnestly ask you to take care not to make any blunders. Shannon, remember, remain calm and do not panic. Cannon, be sure to greet our guests in a sociable manner. Yes. I'll be careful. I'll be careful. Today we must conduct ourselves in a manner suitable for very important guests. See to it that you make no blunders. We understand. All guests who visit here are important. Cannon, in the truest sense, we will be receiving a very important guest today. Oh? Is he referring to Beatrice? I think he is referring to Beatrice. Make sure that you are prepared. Yes, sir. Shannon, is something the matter? You seem to be uneasy. Do you have some prior engagement at this time? I think she does. I think she's getting engaged. Huh? But no, it's nothing. My apologies. Nesan, important guests will be arriving today. Detach yourself from your private life. I don't know what you mean by private life. As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Why is my mouse doing a spinny? Okay. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? I don't know if it's Nijima or Niijima. I think it's Nijima. I think I'm overcomplicating things. She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race, but Cannon, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her. Oh, this is kind of a throwback. Are we really watching George take a shit? Shannon, please don't say a word and accept this. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw desert gunman. Desert? That's not it. Shannon likes men who are more assertive. Bro, she's 16, bro. She's 16. I don't know what to say. I've got to pump it up. More horsepower. Shannon, put this ring on your ring finger. Put this on your ring finger. That's an order, okay? If I don't say properly that it's on the left hand, maybe she'll put it on the right hand. No, Shannon isn't that ignorant. I think I'm that ignorant. But unless there's been some room for her to express her free will, that'd be a little, I mean, As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. George was snapped back to reality. Hey, George Coon, you okay? You got like a stomach ache or something? Ah, ha ha ha. Hey, Uncle Rudolph. It's okay, I'm fine. Really? That's good then. But you know, you're straining way too much. Your ass'll burst. Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. Rudolph is the type of guy that will take the urinal next to you. Even if there's plenty of space otherwise, he will freaking take the urinal next to you. Because he just gives that type of just insanity. And we still don't know how he knows he was gonna die the night before. Yeah, well, he's my favorite in the game. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved. Kyrie, isn't Rosa here yet? Not yet. She's pretty late. It's a good thing the weather's delaying our flight. If the schedule had gone on normally, she would have missed the plane. What'd she plan on doing then? Rosa-san is very much an adult now. She'll manage it somehow. No matter how old they get, older brothers always treat their younger sisters like children. Of course, Dad's always a kid, no matter how old he gets. What'd you say? If I'm a kid, that makes you a baby. Come on, Battler-chan, up you go. Stop it. That tickles. Wahaha. Stop. You look more like two bratty friends than a father and son. Look, she's here. Oh, if it isn't Rosa-san. Maria-chan, long time no see. I'm gonna eat my Saturn burger. Oh, I love that video. Oh, that's such a great TikTok. Oh gosh, long time no see. Ugh. Maria. Should that be, it's good to see you again? Oh my god, they're replaying this dialogue scene. Greet Hideyoshi-san properly. Ugh. It's good to see you again. There you go. Well said. How about some candy? 0 good moments. 7-year age gap. Yeah, we're back to the 007. Agent George 007. For his child bride. He loves that. Oh gosh. How about some candy as a reward? Oh, huh? Where'd I put it? Rosa-san, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria-chan. It's been too long, Kairi-ne-san, Hideyoshi-ni-san. And, oh my, Battler-kun? Look how big you've gotten. Oh, come on. It's embarrassing to hear that from everyone I meet. Hey, Rosa. You're late. If the plane was on time, you'd barely have made it. I'm sorry. We had some trouble making our train connection, except that's a freaking lie, because you were really just beating out the shit out of her daughter, and she felt bad about it, so she bought her candy. So, are we waiting on the weather again? Oh, don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing about on a boat. Even if we're kept waiting here for an hour, it's still much faster overall. Is that Maria? You sure have gotten big. She's at that growing age. You haven't seen her for 6 years, right? Of course she's changed. Women are creatures who could be born again in a single day when they have a change of heart. Ugh. That seems like a weird quote. Women are creatures who can be born again in a single day when they have a change of heart. That just seems interesting to me. And then I click on all the women. What's going on with this whole background of the roses? We figured out what was going on with the whole mirror thing. At least I think I figured out what was going on with the whole mirror thing. I don't know, this game feels like it does everything for a reason. Maria, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rose's back and glared at Battler. Come on, Battler, say hi. Last time you met her, she was just 3 years old, so you're practically meeting her for the first time. Yeah, of course she wouldn't remember something that happened when she was 3. Hey, Maria, long time, no see. God, he's so Sonic coded, it's insane. You sure have gotten big. Maria, this is Battler Oni-chan, Rudolph Nissan's son. Understand? The brother is the son. I don't know. Maybe I'm smoking too much Umineko crack, but that seems interesting to me too. No, I think it's just a translation thing. Ugh. She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd been scared if a large guy like Battler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed that as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. Did she get? It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet Rosa had bought for her. We're kind of getting a different perspective here. I see, it's October, so that must be for Halloween. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank, right? Normally, trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adult seemed dubious about Battler's tactics, but Maria looked unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin. Halloween! Halloween! See, Mama? Battler also knows about Halloween. See? See? Hey, call him a Battler Oni-chan. Sorry, Battler-kun. No, don't sweat it. Please, call me Battler. 'Cause I'll be calling you Maria. Look, Maria, it's Halloween. What if Battler killed them all? That would be fucking crazy. He didn't. He's totally accounted for. Just, yep. I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Giggle. From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet, similar to the one she had in her hand, and presented it to Battler. When Battler accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. He's 18. He's an adult. Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival, so Battler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery, as though they'd been friends for decades. That's right, Halloween's a pretty minor event in Japan. You always see people marching in costume parades on the news from overseas, but I've never seen it here. I wanted to wear a costume too. I wanted to say, trick or treat, with all the cousins wearing costumes. Oh gosh, these poor kids don't get any trick or treat. God, the 80s were probably such a good time for that though. She's probably lucky. I see. Next time, let's do it together. What would you like to dress up as? And then she says, a witch! I knew she was going to say that. Beatrice! I think getting like a kind of a weird, that's the whole perspective on this whole first act, like the first dialogue scene, really. I think it's super cool. Oh, milady, what are you doing in such a place? Madam was looking for you. I'm here because I don't want to be found. Anyway, I'm sure she just wants to scold me. Like, yeah. My candles are starting to run out. I'm gonna get some new candles. Okay. I'm here because I don't want to be found. Anyway, I'm sure she'll just want to scold me like, is your appearance alright? And watch your language. Ho ho ho, without a doubt. You know, when the day of the family conference comes, I start thinking about this witch for some reason. Huh? And why might that be? The family conference is the day when everyone related to grandfather gathers. I hear that this time, even Battler's gonna be coming after 6 years. What if, just like that, some relative who hasn't shown up themselves for several decades suddenly shows up? 19th person pilled. That's what I'm always thinking about. Haha. Could a relative like that exist? I mean, Beatrice Saba. Nobody knows her background. Could she be grandfather's mistress from a long time ago? What if one of her descendants suddenly appears and tells us to return the gold we were given or something? Ha ha ha. Kraus-sama and the others will probably discuss the master's inheritance problem this year too. Once they get so fired up talking about the witch's gold, one could hardly be surprised that if the witch herself were to show up, yes? Kumasawa-san, I guess you keep quitting and getting rehired, but you've been here as long as Genji-san, right? You know more about Beatrice, don't you? Who knows? Even if I try to remember, this old woman here can't even recall what she had for breakfast this morning. She's freaking lying. That is such a lie. Kumasawa-san, you're always dodging with those excuses, but you know something, right? Sometimes you feel kind of devious. Like you know something and you're laughing behind our backs. Oh, that's harsh. I don't have any secrets. The only thing I can say is that Beatrice-sama is the Golden Witch, and that she is the other master who controls the night of this island. Okay, so now you're just repeating the stuff grandfather said. It must be a pain to play along with grandfather's crap, even though you get paid for it. Oh, look at her serious face. She's about to drop the real shit. Magic pilled. However, I can say this much. What? In ancient times, Rokenjima was feared and called Azuki Shima. Azuki Shima. Azuki Bean Island. Okay. We're getting some etymology tonight. The Azuki is said to be corrupted form of Akujiki, and in fact was called Ajukishima. Ajukishima. Akuji. Oh my god, I can't say it. Akuji Kishima. Akuji Kishima to Uzukishima. Evil Appetite Island. That is what was told among the fishermen. I've heard about that before. Supposedly there's lots of sunken rocks and shipwrecks around here, so the fishermen got scared and stayed away whenever they could, right? Evil spirits settled down in Akuji Kishima. Akuji Kishima. Akuji Kishima. Oh my gosh. And have continually eaten the souls of people since ancient times. Quite a few people have lost their lives because of this island. And then that monk, the traveling Shugenja or whatever, built that shrine here, reposed the souls and settled them there, right? Sounds pretty crazy, though. In that shrine for the repose of souls, repose. I don't know why I struggled to say that. Okay. And that shrine for the repose of souls was destroyed by an eerie violet thunderbolt this summer, which tore up the darkness of the night. Yeah, that's Shannon's fault. Probably. Maybe. Kumasawa-san, you really like those stories. Okay, sure. It'd be pretty creepy if a thunderbolt took out a shrine. But, well, it was worn out from the start. Maybe it just got washed away by some big wave. Ha ha ha. The evil spirits of Akuji Kishima woke from their slumber and summoned Beatrice-sama. If Beatrice-sama happens to pay a visit to the family conference, if she does? Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed that she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly. Well now, I wonder what would happen. Who is this witch Beatrice? Surely she doesn't kill people. Yeah, she seems like totally normal and well-adjusted. Oh shit, I think I skipped that. Wait. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm fine. Whoa, that sounds great. I don't know who's talking. Of course. Won't you be able to do better at work? If you get a chance to enrich your heart by living the good life every once in a while? I'm losing my mind. The act result is delaying. I'm gonna implode. ACT exam. Oh. I don't know. I took my SAT. I got an 1100. I never tried. I don't have any wisdom on that. Crazy I needed both. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. It's a racket. That whole industry's a racket. Yep, I can't live unless both your wallet and your heart are enriched after all. Sure, I'll keep that day open. Go ahead and make reservations. Okay. Don't even think of missing it. Yeah, I'm counting on you. I love you, Kyrie. When is this happening? What are they talking about? After kissing the receiver. That's interesting. Rudolph hang up. Before his seat, there was several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of that phone call. Sorry to keep you waiting. Have you heard anything from the States yet? Yes. You have a call from Dale Watanabe, the lawyer. I'll transfer it. On the whole, how's it going? Well, there does seem to be one unfortunate matter. It appears the other party has no intentions of withdrawing from the trial. Oh, I forgot. Okay, that's what was going on with Rudolph. I think there was like a lawsuit he was getting faced. He was facing. Guess there's no fooling them. Ha. Please transfer it here. Understood. I'll do it right away. I'll do that right away. The executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang. Hey there. Hello, hello. Sorry for the wait. Ushirimiya speaking. Thanks, thanks. How's it going on your end? Hello, President Ushirimiya. Let's skip the pleasantries and jump into the main issue. I've got good news and bad news. What would you like first? Might as well start with the bad. I hate fighting when there's no dessert. Very well. The bad news is that the other party is getting ready to prosecute. Just a few days ago, a similar trial resulted in a decision in favor of the plaintiff. I think it was, I forget what they said the whole lawsuit was about, but I think they might have said it was like an intellectual property thing. I forget. Which, like, would have made sense. The defendants were using roughly the same arguments we plan to use, but they were rejected in every case. I'm afraid to say it, but if we face the courtroom as we are now, it's extremely likely that each one of our claims will get rejected. So that trial ended up being a total bust after all. And I thought their position was more solid than ours. That hurt. Okay, what about the good news? I managed to contact the executive of the other party. I explained the situation we're in, told them we had no intentions of tarnishing their brand's image, and managed to get an understanding. They'll send us their terms over the next few days, and if these are carried out, they promise to withdraw their charges. This is the proposal. Their proposal. This is their proposal according to the number 2 man on their board of directors. Your impression? To be honest, I expect their terms to be extremely severe. We estimate that by changing the company name and the brand name will be inevitable. I think we'll be able to earn some leeway by playing with the amount of settlement money, but making a public apology in a major newspaper and carrying all this out with a reasonable amount of time. Staying hydrated. They sure are making this complicated when they could just tell us to go broke. They only recently switched to a new president and their groundwork hasn't been completely laid yet. If we resist until the bitter end, they fear the forces opposing the current president won't hesitate to aid their enemies. Hence, their big shots want this matter settled as quickly as possible too. So we might still have enough leeway to get them to mitigate their terms if it'll lead to a quick settlement. Either way, we are still looking at a crazy sum of money. Are we still looking at a crazy sum of money? You need to be prepared for that. Even that would be much cheaper than paying punitive damages. Thank you very much, sir. Please contact me if anything new happens. We're paying you the big bucks, so no idle chit chat. Ha 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 ha. Thank you, thank you. Goodbye. Rudolph hung up the phone. The executive sitting in the reception seat seemed to have guessed at the contents of that discussion. You guys hear that? Simply put, they'll forgive us if we can pile up enough money. Now, all we've got to do is haggle over the amount of that money. But President, the likely sum for the settlement Mr. Watanabe indicated is too much. We don't have that much of a margin. If we'd known this would happen, we'd have never started diversifying. The calculations were that we could escape a capital crisis if we managed to endure for 3 years. To think we'd be stabbed at a time like this. How bad can our luck get? I guess we fell at the step of the hop, step, and jump. It's enough to make you cry. We have no choice but to draw the money from the main bank. Banks are no good. They only bet their money on winners. The economy's improving, but we can't show weakness to the banks. President, do we have access to any funds that are unaccounted for? Funds we are unaware of? Quit it. Do I look like that kind of man? The contents of my wallet are totally exposed to you guys, okay? The account books over there show all our company has. In that case, we need to raise money. We need a sponsor who can draw in several million for us as soon as possible. President, couldn't something be worked out with one of your personal connections? President! President! Calm down, you bastards. Let me worry about raising the money. You guys just keep the business running without making too much noise. Our accusers, are saying they'll let us be if we could show them the money. We've already got thick pipelines in Asia. Things will probably be shaky, but we'll be able to maintain our current deals. Basically, if we could just bring the money together, we'll be able to solve all of our problems. Just you watch. I'll fix all of this. I won't leave you out of the cold. Time to start getting your hopes up again. What's this? This is all behind us. I'll be rewarding all of you guys with a champagne tower. I promise you that. So shut up, follow me. Got it? Okay, this is really weird. The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Rudolph was jostled awake. He'd woken early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat. You okay? Are you sure you aren't still pretty sleepy? After all, it seems like you've been busy with work lately. Being busy with work is nothing to complain about, right? Once I've got nothing left to do, it won't be long before we're still out in the cold. Good point. Now that even Battler-kun's back, we'd be looking at worse than... I can't read this. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Reading is so freaking difficult. Unreal. Good point. Now that even Battler-kun's back, we'd be looking at worse than just the two of us going around begging. Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it now. Our family's all together again for the first time in 6 years. So the leader of our family's got to give it his best if we want to spend some time alone together. When he looked out the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drip in altitude considerably. I wonder if this is happening... I guess this is happening while they were in the airplane together. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains a short while ago were starting to become clearly recognizable. If I could prostrate myself before father and get 10 million yen every time he slugged me, I'd do it a dozen times. Or maybe he could just go and die already. I've always depended heavily on his financial support, and now I'm after his inheritance. I'm headed straight to hell. I can hardly complain if father doesn't want to meet the man I've become. Could it be that, once again, you do not plan on making an appearance at the family conference? Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to the strange book on magic. I have no interest in joining those vultures in their debate. They can discuss how they'll suck my bones dry on their own. How utterly contemptible. My. How troublesome. Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo. If the time comes for me to leave this room, I will show myself, just as she does not show herself yet. When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which was respectfully displayed on the wall. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was the family conference, where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled by only the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked about Beatrice would trigger his wrath. Today, I will hold a certain ceremony. Oh. And what might that be? Perhaps it is closer to a gamble than a ceremony. After all, magic without risk can never house a miracle. Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. You might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumph. I wonder what sort of gamble you're making. As the man who was once called the Golden Gambler, who's now so old that he might pass on at any time, this should be well worth watching. I see. So the secret ritual I have developed after much research appears to be nothing more than a gamble to one unversed in magic. Appears to be nothing more than a gamble to one unversed in magic, such as you. Very well. If I have faith in miracles and win, you'll see clearly on this day that all of my research did bear fruit, despite it seeming to be little more than the product of my eccentricity. If you win, it will all end just as you have already seen, as nothing more than the eccentricity of an old man who might leave this world at any time. Oh. Just what sort of gamble could you be planning to take? As your friend, that bet, or ceremony as you called it, I can only pray most sincerely that you achieve victory in it. Yes, I thank you. Speaking of which, Kinzo-san, have you heard that a much longed for guest will be present at the family conference this year? What? For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around. That's right. Battler-kun from Rudolph-san's family. I hear he'll be coming after an absence of 6 years. I'm sure he's become a splendid boy. Oh, Battler? I wouldn't call him longed for. I guess he's failed to show up for a mere 6 years. After hearing Battler's name and making a disappointed and ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again. I imagine those 6 years went by in a flash for you, considering how you've immersed yourself in your research in this room. However, we might actually receive a visit from a truly longed-for guest. Everything depends on the result of the roulette. The roulette has already started to spin. Will it be rouge or noir? Tonight, let us enjoy ourselves as we see what kind of miracle the roulette will show us. The payoffs are large, and I don't intend to lose. Beatrice, accept my bet. At that time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo, and he picked up the receiver to preserve the silence as much as he could. What is it? I'm busy. Genji speaking. Everyone has arrived. What of it? Just serve them some tea or something. Certainly. I will do so. Kinzo hung up the phone rudely. Looking at that, Nanjo sighed yet again and shifted his attention outside the window. As he is now, I doubt Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then gazed up at the lead-colored sky. Oh shit. Oh god, we're back here? Oh, I got an achievement. Welcome back to Rokenjima. So, are all the pieces in place? Shall we line them up all again and start a new game? Any objections from you? Oh! Was she replaying all that for Battler? So Battler could, like, know more? Any objections from you? Nope, none. The witch looked at him challengingly while elegantly smoking her pipe. And Battler? He just rudely shrugged his shoulders as if he didn't care with what she did. He didn't meet her eyes, but that didn't mean he didn't intend to challenge her. It showed his clear determination to never be taken in by this bastard's tricks. It was an expression of his determination to fight. Don't tell me you're jumping into this without a plan. I don't even know how you'll make your first move, so I've got no plans or anything. Go ahead and move first. Naturally, I'll do so. How shall I break down your defenses? How many moves will it take to checkmate you? This is where you'll see me at my finest. No matter what moves you come at me with, I won't believe in you. As long as I stand my ground on that point, I won't lose. And that means this game's built in a way that makes it impossible for you to win. Perhaps you're right. However, I'm the one who decides how many times we'll hold this game. We'll repeat it over and over again until I win and you acknowledge your defeat. See? In other words, this is torture. An eternal torture that shall continue until you surrender to me. It shall go on endlessly until you acknowledge me in the existence of witches. Then I'll play your game endlessly, as many times as it takes, until you run out of patience. I've never lost in a test of stubbornness. This is a weird face he's making. Oh, this art is so definitely there. I love that. Oh, I did a certain... Oh, did a certain witch plant that idea in your head? Very well. I'm tired of listening to you ramble. Come on, get this started. Then let us begin. I already know all of your moves. The defense doesn't amount to much if the plan behind it is known. Don't think you'll be able to defy me with the same moves. Beatrice, I've got just one thing to say before we start. What is it? Go ahead and say whatever you want. However, whether I believe you is something I'll decide for myself. No matter how impressive this magic of yours is, my soul won't yield to you. You think this is torture for me? You're wrong. Then what else could it be? This is torture for you. You're locked in here with me. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Someday, you'll surrender to me and give up. Until then, you'll be tortured over and over again. How amusing. What an entertaining metaphor. Torture where we torment each other. Yes, truly amusing. Come, shall we begin that torture? Ushiramiya Battler? 07th Expansion presents Welcome to Rokenjima When They Cry 3. Almost 11. Do I need to write anything down while I'm looking? Actually, I'm gonna pull up that document. Okay. I think I'm good. Fuck, it is hot in here. Fuck me. I hate summer. I want fall. Every year, the relatives visiting Rokenjima would let out a sigh of admiration at the rose garden that first greeted them. They would stop there to chat about the rose's beauty and how well they were blooming that year. In the midst of all this, there was a single unhealthy rose, and Maria became overwhelmed with dejection at its condition. But George used his quick wits. Are we gonna find out what happened to the rose? Oh, that'd be fucking cool. But George used his quick wits, and saying that everything would be fine if they took care of this poor thing, marked it with a candy wrapper and immediately restored Maria's good mood. Then Battler, with whom she'd been getting along with very well since that morning, started talking about Halloween. This was such a favorite topic of Maria's that she began playing around energetically again. To Maria, that marshmallow jack-o'-lantern candy bought by her mother was probably the greatest sort of treasure. They seemed to have bought several, and she demanded a trick-or-treat from every person she met, giving them candy instead of the other way around. I wonder why Maria likes Halloween so much. I always figured it was a pretty unfamiliar event for the Japanese. Well, it's a kids festival where they get to parade around in costumes, right? It can be fun to play around in an outfit that's different than usual. I think there's a slightly deeper cause behind it. After all, she is the witch, Maria-chan. Come to think about it, when we were at the airport, didn't Maria say that if she was gonna wear a costume, it'd be a witch? Does she like witches? Yes, she loves them. So much that becomes a problem. Hey, it's not so bad. What does this face look like? just... Oh my gosh, her face is just so dejected. You expect kids at that age to love fantastical stuff like that. If it was just a heroine on some TV anime, at least it'd be cute. Judging by Rose's appearance, she wasn't very happy about her daughter's love for witches as a mother. She would have loved being a Jehovah's Witness. That's so crazy. The cousins other than Battler seemed to realize this, and they shrugged, wearing stiff smiles. So you're arguing that because she likes witches, she also likes Halloween. If we don't know, why don't we just ask her? Hey Maria, how are witches and Halloween related? As Battler said that, George and Jessica let out a stifled ah, as if they were trying to stop him, but that's too late. Damn, that was the fastest ban of my life for that. Maria might have been waiting for just that question. He indulged her special interest. Oh no. After beaming for an instant, her expression turned a little mean as if to say, "You're totally clueless, aren't you?" It was the face of a hobbyist who's been ticked off by an outsider saying something stupid about their favorite subject. To the Celts, the changing strength of the sun over the course of a year signified its birth. It was just like it's just like one of those bots that comes in and like is like, oh, it's like view bot spam. It happens at least once a stream. Its birth, its growing up period, its aging and death, and then its revival. I get it. In spring, the weak, warm sun starts to grow up and get hot, and then it gradually gets weaker and worn out. Sort of makes sense to think of it as the sun living out its entire lifetime. Yes, so they thought about that at the end of October. The sun died, was laid to rest in the land of the dead, and was revived at the winter solstice. And the name they gave to the last day of their year, when the sun ended its 1 year lifespan and died, was Samhain. And they celebrated them. Sorry, I don't know anything about Celts. It's an interesting idea to think of that the sun is revived on the day of the winter solstice, when the daylight hours start growing longer again. You see, in Norse mythology, that's the Wild Hunt. It's a case that makes it clear how much the ancients regarded the sun as sacred. Well, every society did. It's literally on Japan's flag. I see. So what does this have to do with witches? It seems that my causal urging... Not casual, not causal. Casual urging forward had slightly infuriated Maria. She glared at me with eyes that told me to shut up while she explained. Maria seemed to be having a blast as she talked, so I decided not to interrupt. In the interval between October and November, life and death becomes closest as they ever will. The Celts believed that during this time, the world of the living grew closer to the world of the dead and otherworldly beings, and that many of those living in the other world would come to visit. It was like the Bon Festival in Japan. At the time, people believed that souls returning to the physical world would go into people's houses or possess people and do bad things. So in order to avoid harm, they performed rituals. One of them One of those was to imitate creepy monsters and scare the souls back, which was apparently a way to avoid being possessed. That part became a festival, which turned into a costume parade. You really know a lot, don't you, Maria? Ain't it the truth? Even I never knew Halloween had such a history. But where did the whole trick-or-treat thing come from? Her knowledge was so extensive that the adults had suddenly started listening in too. Maria, who was normally treated like the youngest all the time, puffed out her chest with pride, saying that this was just a kids' discussion. Rosa suggested that the adults go on ahead and set their luggage down in the guest house, but nobody else agreed to go with her, and she let out a heavy sigh. Ugh! Trick-or-treat is just for fun. It has nothing to do with what was originally a Celtic ceremony. That was created later when Christian customs were mixed in. In Maria, we call that syncretization. However, I think it's right for Halloween to be that way. According to Maria, the souls of the dead weren't the only ones who'd visited from the non-human world. There were also spirits with intimate connections to people's everyday lives. Humans could receive favors from those spirits, so they'd manage to gain magnificent blessings, as well as a year's worth of good crops. So basically, Halloween was also a bit of a harvest festival? Yes, it was. I get it. Now that you mention it, I guess October's a turning point in all kinds of ways, including with the seasons. Sort of the opposite of April in Japan. Yeah, that might be a good place to mark it. Ugh. And also, the witches hold an assembly, then, called a Sabbath. The witches thank the spirits that give out blessings of prosperity and reward them. She would have loved that movie, The Witch. Oh my god, she would have loved that movie. Would you like to live deliciously? She would love to live deliciously. Halloween costumes imitate the guests that come from the other side. In other words, you might say giving out candy is a way to show gratitude for the yearly harvest. Ugh! Just like George Oni-chan says. So Halloween is a time when those two worlds intermingle. In other words, it's the most important chance for witches to intermingle with guests from that world. Is that what you're trying to say? Ugh. Just like Battler says. And you know what? You know what? October is when the power of witches and demons is at its most vigorous and prosperous. I'm sure Beatrice will come. And then we'll eat marshmallow candies together, and she'll bring me to the Golden Land with her. We'll sing magical songs together, learn magic spells together, and learn how to draw magic circles together. And then we'll learn the secrets of runes, and I'll become a great witch really, really quickly. The runes are a whole other thing. My, isn't that wonderful? It's best for kids to have dreams. By the way, Rosa, how old will Maria be this year again? Maria, that's enough of that. Don't worry about it, Rosa-san. It's a dream all girls have at one time or another. Thank you very much. But Maria has already graduated from that age. Hey, I'm telling you to stop. Rosa scolded Maria, trying to shut her up before her cheery discussion about black magic earned her the snickers of her relatives. Oh? That sounds pretty detailed and impressive. By the way, who was Beatrice again? I know I've heard that name somewhere before. Battler had been gone for 6 years and had completely forgotten about the legend of the Rokkenjima witch. However, when he said he didn't know Beatrice's name, Maria's once bright mood soured in an instant. When he saw that, Battler immediately remembered that it was the name of the witch of this island, but the damage had been done. Until Maria's mood improved, she went on and on about many mysterious and fabulous episodes regarding the Golden Witch. That's enough, Maria. Thank you, Battler-kun, for letting her chat with you. Cannon-kun, don't you have work to do? Please leave now. Go to San. It looks like everyone wants to set down their bags for the time being. Sorry, but could you just guide everyone to the guest house? Certainly. Well then, everyone, allow me to guide you. And then, if you will excuse me. Goda led the relatives as they began to head towards the guest house. They were eager to set down their luggage and take a breather, so they didn't realize that Rosa and Maria weren't coming with them. Oh god, here we go again. Not again. Not again. I don't want to deal with this again. After watching them leave towards the guest house, Rosa's face changed suddenly. She let go with the hand that had been gripping Maria this whole time. There was a bright red mark there, making clear how much excessive force she had been using on Maria's slender arm. Holy shit, she's slender, man. Oh no. That hand then slapped against Maria's head, pinched her left ear, and lifted. Even though I'm always telling you not to talk about witches, haven't I always said that was our promise together? Mama, ouch. Mama, ouch. You really do like blabbering on about Halloween all the time, don't you? Festival for witches. Who cares about the Celts, black magic, all that idiotic trash? You're 9 years old. 9. Because of that scene you made in the train, I went through all the trouble of making a stop and buying you those disgusting monster marshmallows. They look like they have fluorescent paint on them. I went out of my way to buy it, even though it made us late. How much more will you embarrass me before you're satisfied? As Rosa cursed, she twisted Maria's ear up, almost as though she was... This is so fucked. I don't need this twice in one night. An expression of anguish. Is Natsuhi still your most hated one now? No, not even close. It's this bitch. I kind of have like a little respect for Natsuhi. This is just awful. She deserved to die. I hope it was painful when she died. Across Maria's face when she frantically stood on her tiptoes, trying to soften the pain in her ear. This is why you could never make this a freaking anime. I think it is an anime, but I think this did get like an anime adaptation of some degree, maybe like a small one. At least that's what I gathered from looking very briefly at the Wikipedia article, but you could never adapt this. It did in a horrible one. Yeah. You would have to do this. Rosa suddenly grabbed the candy that Maria had been holding. She threw it on the ground and stepped on it over and over again. She's literally just taking candy from a baby. Extremely rushed and only covers first episodes. Skips almost everything. That's so sad. To Maria, it was supposed to proof of a memory. Of a brief span of time when her mother had bought something fun for her, but now that same mother was grinding it into the ground right in front of her. It was as though a brand had been pushed into Maria's eyes, leaving a mark that could never be erased. What's the deal with this candy? Disgusting, disgusting. It's because you're like that. It's all because you're like that. Disgusting, disgusting. This is so fucked up. I can't handle this shit anymore. As she said that, she struck Maria's head over and over again with her palm. She didn't hit Maria's face, because the red swelling would stand out. Maria closed her eyes tightly, patiently bearing her mother's violence. No, that wasn't quite it. Come back, Mama. Come back. Save me. Defeat the bad witch. She kept bearing Rosa's assault, muttering that over and over. Oh my god. Just absolutely whacked her ass. Didn't I tell you to stop talking about witches? Why you... Rosa, tired from hitting her daughter, breathed so hard her shoulders shook. Good for you. Maria grasped her hands together, withstanding it, hoping her mother would return soon. Mama, Mama, come back quickly. Save me, Mama. Beat the bad witch. Fine, just stay there like that forever. Just stand there mumbling about witches and Halloween forever. After hurling those words at Maria, Rosa left in the direction of the guest house, leaving Maria behind. Maria, forgetting even that it was okay to cry, kept staring down at the jack-o'-lantern candy that had been trampled beyond recognition. God, this is just heartbreaking. Oh, Rosa. Well, where were you? I'm sorry, I was beating the shit out of my daughter. The roses were just so wonderful, Rosa, set down your luggage quickly and come with us. We're gonna go say hi to Aniki. Hmm? What happened to Maria-chan? Is she still by the flower beds? Yes. It seems she'd found a rose she likes and insisted that she'd take care of it, refusing to listen. I decided to let her do what she wants for a while. I sometimes forget that girls have their own little world. Sometimes we have to respect that. Right? That's right. Thanks for your concern, Kairi-san. Goda-san, where is our room? I will guide you. This way. Allow me to hold your luggage. I'll be fine. I can carry it myself, thank you. Rosa went into her room, guided by Goda. She then closed the door somewhat violently and threw her luggage on top of the bed. Ellipses. She got down on her knees in front of the bed, burying her face in it. For a while, Rosa made as if to shred the sheets with her fingernails, sobbing constantly. And this is just the child abuse night. Maria-sama, are you alright? Cannon appeared from behind a thicket after watching Rosa leave. Oh shit, he was watching. I'm fine. Maria gave a creepy laugh, but the Cannon, who had seen the whole thing, it looked like she was enduring as best she could. She's a horrible person. I can't believe she's a mother. It can't be helped. You can't expect anything better than that to enter a container of that level. I'm just fine. Cannon got down on his knees and picked up the trampled candy. It was tragic just looking at it. He thought about dusting it off and returning it to her, but he really couldn't do so with that condition. Just as he was wondering what to do, he met Maria's gaze. No, that wasn't quite right. Maria was looking at the candy Cannon had picked up. Right now, Maria's heart was surely the same as the candy that had been trampled into a pulp. Cannon realized this, but didn't know what he should do. That's right. I'll exchange it for the one I received earlier. Cannon remembered that a similar candy he'd received from Maria was in his pocket. Maria stuck out her hand. Cannon thought she was trying to take it, so he held out the candy, but Maria didn't try to grasp it. Then Cannon realized she was trying to give it back. No matter how tragic and trampled it was, this candy was Maria's. Her mother had bought it for her. No matter how tragic, it had to be this candy and no other. If only it were intact enough that it could be fixed by dusting it off. Cannon hung his head. Dusting it off is the most I can do. I'm sorry. Cannon held out the miserable-looking candy Maria wanted. She took it and spoke. Thank you. A human can't do anything except dust it off, but a witch could restore it to how it once was. It would be easy for Beatrice. Maria-sama, you know about Beatrice-sama? Except for Battler, there was no way anyone related to the Ashiramiya family could have failed to know Beatrice's name. But just now, Maria had bragged about Beatrice to Battler. She had spoken almost as though she was meeting with Beatrice regularly. Cannon felt a sharp pain inside his left hand, which was curled into a fist. Isn't that where he got that mark? Yeah. He'd always tried to think of it as a bad dream. However, Shannon insisted that it was definitely a real witch. And then this summer, the shrine to the local Shinto god was hit by lightning, disappearing without a trace over the span of a single night. He knew about Shannon breaking that mirror. And he remembered that, as the witch departed, she said she'd eventually be revived. And now, this girl who believed absolutely in Beatrice spoke as though she'd met Beatrice herself. Cannon couldn't suppress a vague sense of foreboding welling up in his heart. For a while, Maria remained silent, as though she could see into Cannon's heart. Almost as though she was waiting for a memory of Beatrice to be revived. And then she spoke as though it was a fact. You know, I'm friends with Beatrice. I'm even gonna meet her today and play. You're going to play? Yeah, of course we'll play. We're gonna study magic together. I think it's interesting that they were talking about the sun earlier, and like kind of this idea of the birth and the birth, life, death, and eventual rebirth of the sun. And the first magic circle they used was one about harvesting the power of the sun. And then there's that whole thing about rebirth that has to deal with like the witch's prophecy. In the face of that witch, whom Cannon had tried to pretend was a bad dream, the face of that witch whom Cannon had tried to pretend was a bad dream began to slowly creep into the back of his mind. Father says he's extremely busy with his research. Unfortunately, he seems he'll be unable to come down. Come on. We've put this conference on our schedules and come all the way out to Rokenjima during this crazy busy fall season. You think Dad could at least be a bit more sociable? Yeah, seriously. Dr. Nanjo, is it really his research and his mood that are the problem? He isn't already bedridden and unable to get up, right? Well, I wonder. There is not much I can say. Nanjo glanced at Natsuhi. It seemed he thought it wasn't his place to speak without first getting Natsuhi's approval. Father's state of health is better than ever. It would be exceedingly rude to call him bedridden. But he only has 3 months to live, right? Normally, wouldn't you expect him to be wasted away, unable to get out of his bed? Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo? For a normal patient, that would probably be the case. But Kinzo-san has extraordinary willpower. Perhaps that willpower has frightened even the Reaper away. Well, if he's that energetic, then I guess we have little to worry about for the near future, right? Though, if he's got that much spunk, I wish he'd at least come to greet us. Isn't the whole point of this family conference to come and see Dad's face? I'm not even sure why we came now. Man, this guy was such an asshole, Kinzo. Okay. Don't say that. If he were here, you'd complain the whole time about being unable to relax. Shouldn't we celebrate the fact that all of us siblings have gathered this year to spend some time alone? We didn't get to see him at last year's family conference either, right? Can you understand why his Can't you understand why his blood children might want to see him after 2 years? If there's anything you'd like to say in greeting, I will tell him for you. Oh, Eva-san, is there something you'd like to discuss with Father beyond merely greeting him? Ugh, come on, what are you talking about? Sheesh. Give it a rest, Ava. Natsui-san, forgive us. Ava's just worried about Father's condition as his daughter. Please try and understand how she feels. Indeed. Look how quickly you've grown to respect Father, now that you know how much longer he has to live. Yes, I do understand why you want to see him so much. What are you trying to say? Quit it, Aneki. Aneki versus Aniki. Ne-san versus Ni-san. Why don't we pray that his mood will improve by dinner? Anyway, we've only just arrived. For now, we're only here as for a casual greeting. And we could even hold the family conference without Dad. In fact, there's a few things we siblings shouldn't bring him until we've formed a unified opinion. Isn't that right, Hideyoshi Nisan? Yep, just as Rudolph-kun says. This is the only time of year we can all meet in person. A Saturn burger? We've got to take this valuable time seriously and be frank with each other. Even though the tea hadn't yet arrived, they were very determined. But before that, perhaps we could spare the time to enjoy some black tea at our leisure. Guess who likes black tea? Beatrice likes black tea. surrounded by the wonderful furnishings of the parlor. Kylerie's words seemed to contain a subtle admonition directed at everyone gathered there. They all understood, and as they cleared their throats and straightened their neckties, the atmosphere in the room returned to normal for a time. I'm going to be right back. Give me like 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Why is the word MILF flagged? Okay, let me get rid of the text. There we go. I got some snacks. I threw some trash away. Got the blood running. Now we gotta deal with this bullshit. Excuse me. I brought some tea. Shannon is an agent of the witch. Hey, Shannon Chan. Hey, Shannon Chan. This guy is going to have the Saturn Burger voice for the rest of the game. You just keep getting prettier and prettier. They said he has like different accents, so I'm following canon here. By canon, I mean canon with a C. Shannon entered the parlor, pushing the serving cart. Everyone decided to relax and enjoy some black tea for the time being. A wonderful aroma began to spread throughout the room. As far as anyone could see, the strained atmosphere from before Shannon's arrival seemed like a lie. Of course, Shannon was setting out the tea. Who was setting out the tea probably didn't even notice. Kyrie seemed to laugh faintly at how adult everyone was suddenly acting. Bedwards, you are apparently pioneering discourse into Umineko, I suppose. That's just gonna be your role now. Rudolph didn't like it when Kyrie took the initiative and spoke at the family conference. It was his worthless male pride. He probably didn't want to look like a weak man who only took advice from his wife. She understood that and did her best to refrain from saying any more than was necessary. So she separated herself from the circle of siblings, who only superficially appeared to be enjoying some time together alone, and casually drank her tea near the window. Oh, Rosa-san, I thought you siblings were enjoying some alone time. You must be joking. Sorry, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just a little exasperated by my husband. Apparently, Rosa hadn't been able to keep up with that on-the-surface friendliness. Yeah, because she's just used to freaking beating the shit out of her daughter. And that's, I guess, her thing. They'd come here to fight bloodily and dirtily, each trying to grab a part of the inheritance for themselves. She probably didn't like suddenly pretending that they were all chummy. Or maybe she was still too immature for that. It looks like the wind started blowing hard out there. The plants are all shaking so much. The typhoon's probably gotten pretty close already. I wonder if we'll see a lot of rain tonight. And you guys both die. Maria-chan really has grown a lot this past year. Does it look that way? She still can't even fold her own clothing yet. God, can I even fold my... I really don't even have the attention span to fold my own clothing. I fold some things. There's just some shit I just don't care about folding at all. I'm a pig. I own it. No, it's true. It's because she has such an affectionate mother. She'll grow into a girl with a rich heart. Rosa fell silent. Maybe she was unsure as to what Kyrie meant by that. I'm a failure as a mother. Children don't get to choose their parents. That poor girl. Doesn't that go both ways? A parent can't choose what kind of child they have either. Rosa bit her lower lip. This isn't a matter of assigning blame. Isn't it enough that you take your time and watch over her as she grows, conscious of the fact that you'll be living together? You spend every day with Maria-chan, so you probably don't notice the small changes. But the rest of us who haven't seen her for a year can see clearly how much she's grown. If you really mean that, thank you very much. Then, if you will excuse me, if there's anything you can desire, please call on me for it any time. Shannon bowed politely and left the room. As Hideyoshi and Rudolph, who had a soft spot for women, watched her go, the atmosphere in the room began to revert back to what it had been right before Shannon's visit. Oh, yay. Your father can't come down. Well, that does still leave us with certain things we can discuss. Right, Rudolph? Yep, that's right. We didn't come all this way here just to drink and some dusty tea, right? Very well. What is this matter you're so clearly eager to discuss? My. Those people really are determined. They certainly got started quick. Ugh, I need to join in too. If I don't assert myself, those people will quickly forget that there are 4 siblings. Dude, that clock noise gets me freaking wired. Sounds like you got it pretty tough yourself. Maybe I spoke too harshly. Forgive me. No, I don't mind. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I want to meet her daughter. As a pair of mothers with daughters, we should talk more often. Every single time we meet, we end up talking about something shady. You can blame the atmosphere in the mansion for that. Once we start breathing in this air, the mood between us gets so strained. Just once, I'd like to have a nice, long cup of tea with you when we aren't attending a family conference. There's a wonderful coffee shop in Ginza that's a favorite of mine. Please let me invite you sometime soon. Thank you, Kairi-san. That sounds great. Kairi is like the baddest, most fucking tough bitch. She's fucking always on point. She's always telling Battler to turn that chessboard around. She is like so standing on business. Consistently. Kairi is like the best. I think out of all these adults, I wish she was the one that freaking lived. She would freaking have everything down pat. She's so always on business. It's so great. Okay, I had to finish that banana. I have hardly eaten today. Oh no. The sky's dark. Oh no. The sky's gotten dark pretty fast. I could almost believe the people in this room made the weather worse. There's already thunder. Oh? Was that one there? Huh? There really were small splashes. There really were small splashes of rain on the glass of the parlor window. The weather seemed to have worsened faster than expected. Oh God. Just then, a silent thunderbolt struck inside Rose's head, and she remembered that her beloved child was still out in the rose garden. A normal girl would try to go inside if the weather got bad, but Maria was different. She would sometimes get stubborn and refuse to move if rain or even spears fell from the sky. That's right, I told that child to just stay there doing that forever, didn't I? Oh no, Maria! Everyone looked back at Rosa when she let out a small scream. What? What is it? I'm sorry, I'm going outside for a second. I'll be right back. What the Seriously, what's going on with her? Don't worry, she'll be back soon. More importantly, shouldn't we begin? Our main topic. That's right. We can keep talking about that without Rosa. Let's return to our discussion. Rosa dashed from the entrance hall into the rose garden. When she opened the door, the wind that hit her was too strong to be called a light breeze, and told her that the typhoon was approaching faster than she'd thought. Just as Kyrie had said, the wind was mixed in with small droplets of rain. There was also a low rumble of thunder. It could start raining at any time. Rosa headed for the rose garden, because it's in her name. She headed for the place where she had scolded Maria a short while ago. It was almost lunchtime. The children had been told to come to the mansion around lunchtime. So they were probably in the guest house. Okay, so I think that's when she went missing for a little bit. And that's when she ran into the guest house asking if they'd seen Maria. Ugh. Oh yeah. The children had been told to come to the mansion around lunchtime, so they were probably in the guest house waiting to be called. Even if Maria didn't come to them, they would surely think I took her to the mansion with me and wouldn't worry much. After all, she had been with her mother, so there should have been no reason to worry. I was there, and I abandoned my daughter to the worsening weather. Maria! Are you there? If you're there, answer me. Ugh! I was right. She was still standing stock still, exactly the same way she had been in the place where I had scolded her. Held in her hand was the candy that I'd bought, given to her, and then stepped on and crushed. With that gripped in her hand, she stood there as the powerful winds whipped her hair about, tormenting her. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Maria. Forgive Mama. Ugh, Mama, welcome back. I waited a long time for you to come back. The scary witch pinched me. But I stayed strong, waiting for Mama to come back without crying. Maria, forgive your Mama. Forgive your Mama. You didn't do anything wrong. You were just possessed by a bad witch again. So I'm fine. I really like you, Mama. I love you. Ah! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive your Mama for losing to the bad witch. Rosa buried her face in Maria's small chest, crying and begging forgiveness. And once again, those tears dripped down after who knows how many times. If only the brilliant sun had been shining on the two of them, all their cares would have evaporated, and it might have felt like they could begin anew. That just keeps coming up again. Beginning anew, being reborn. However, what surrounded the two of them was the worsening weather. Sadly, there was only fierce winds with occasional thunder. The sound of Maria sniffling brought Rosa back to her senses. If Maria stood exposed to the wind for too long, she'd probably catch a cold. Okay, Maria. It's almost time for lunch. Why don't you come back to the mansion with me? Ugh, won't go. Why not? Although she'd already received Maria's forgiveness, so she hadn't imagined why Maria would refuse. That expression on Maria's face didn't look like that of a child resisting her mother, so Rosa couldn't understand why Maria wanted to stand still pointlessly as the weather grew even worse. Maria answered that question. It's Beatrice. She'll be here really soon, so I'm waiting. Maria. Rosa struggled to find words for a moment, then fell silent. They'd only just managed to make up after all. She chose her words carefully, trying to get Maria to come with her to the mansion without denying the witch outright. Beatrice is coming? Ugh. Really? Then instead of waiting here, why don't we wait in the mansion? If you stay in this wind too long, you'll catch a cold. She'll come. Beatrice will come. And when she does, I'll give her candy. I'll do trick or treat. I'll give her a jack-o'-lantern marshmallow candy and say Happy Halloween. Ugh. Maria pulled yet another sweet out of her handbag, moaning, ugh. Rosa was bewildered and didn't know what to do as Maria started being difficult again. At that time, there was a sudden blast of thunder. It was probably a sign that this island has been sealed off by the storm, detached from common sense and reality. Oh, they're in my brain. That's crazy. So after this moment, all common sense would probably cease to apply. The wind blew even stronger, and amidst that blizzard of scattered rose petals, a figure appeared, leaving Rosa unable to imagine that this was a scene from reality. It was probably, though definitely, fantastical. And after all, the shadow of that person was... What is her fit? What is her fit? Beatrice! Maria dashed over to the shadow. I want to rewatch. I think after this stream, I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing with the. I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing with the like all the stuff surrounding Maria and the. But I wonder if like the thing is like the question is, I guess, going into this arc, not this arc, this like episode is how much of what I'm seeing is real. That's what I'm wondering right now is how much is any of this shit real? Or how much of this is just Beatrice trying to convince Battler that this is what happened? That's for me to decide. Oh gosh. Normally, Rosa would scold her daughter if she dashed over to someone whom she hadn't seen before and didn't know. But Rosa forgot to do that and was unable to do anything but stand there, stunned. It's been quite some time. Have you been well? Ugh. I've been well. Witches don't catch colds. Ugh. Ha ha. Indeed, a witch can use curses to make people catch colds, but how foolish would it be if she caught one herself? From now on, you should take care not to catch something like a cold yourself. She patted Maria's head as she said this, smiling roguishly. Rosa couldn't have known the name of the woman who was happily spoiling Maria. However, Maria had called it out in the beginning when the woman appeared. So even though Rosa had never met her, even though the woman still hadn't introduced herself, Rosa was able to know her name. However, that name held a special meaning on Rokenjima and in the Yoshiramiya family. God, this soundtrack's going crazy right now. There's no way something that stupid could be. Beatrice, happy Halloween. Look at what we bought. I'll give you one too, Beatrice. Ugh. Indeed, happy Halloween. Huh. Is this for me? How truly adorable that a candy would be made out of this. The lonely light of a man lost in the darkness of purgatory, unable to go to heaven or hell. Right now, on this island that has been cut off both from the world of humans and the world of non-humans, there may be no more suitable sweet. Purgatory. Again, that theme of purgatory. And the whole thing about like Beatrice being in Dante's Inferno, and like, I wish I knew more about Dante's Inferno so I could talk more about that. But that just seems important to me. Life, death, and rebirth. Maria, what's wrong with that one? The witch noticed the sweet Maria was grasping. It was Maria's candy, which had been stomped on by Rosa until it reached this pitiful state. Ugh! Got stepped on and smashed. Can you fix it, Beato? Oh, she also calls Beatrice by that name, Beato. Maria didn't go so far as to say that it was her mother who'd stepped on it. However, for some reason, when the witch saw that candy, she looked at Rosa and grinned. A chill went down Rosa's spine, as though this gaze was staring straight through her. It shall be easy. Give it to me. Ugh! Maria held out the candy gleefully. Rosa could do nothing but watch, stunned. How did this person claim to trick Maria, somehow undoing the fact that the candy had been pitifully trampled? Maria looked as though she believed it could be fixed good as new. Without real magic, there was no way such a thing could be possible. My, it is quite crushed, isn't it? Come, Maria. Close your eyes and try to remember. Because it really was that wonderful a candy. The candy of your memories is always full and fluffy. So you try to remember as well. What kind of candy was it? What kind of candy was it really? Along with those strange words, spoken as though singing an improvised folk song, the witch threw the sweet into the air. Maria closing her eyes and remembering, just as the witch had told her to. What shape had that crushed candy really had? Therefore, only Rosa saw that scene. The sweet that had been thrown into the air burst into a gold color. No, that wasn't it. Those were golden butterflies. It scattered into several golden butterflies, and they began to gather at the witch's hand, which was held up to the sky. I guess like the whole thing is like they never talked about like the candy really in that level of specificity in episode 1. They mentioned that there was candy going around, but like and I remember the fact that Rosa and Maria were late. And as she did this, unbelievably, it returned to its beautiful original form, no different from when it had been thought. Only Rosa and the witch witnessed that scene. Unable to comprehend what was occurring right before her eyes, Rosa stood with her mouth hanging open, completely forgetting to shut it. You may now open your eyes. Take it. With this, your sweet has returned to normal. Ugh! Beatrice is always incredible, incredible. There was a stark contrast between Rosa's shock and Maria's innocent joy. Like, this whole thing just doesn't match with, like... I thought she came into the guest house thinking that Maria had gone in there, so we're being told basically a completely different story about what had happened with Rosa and Maria. And it doesn't match what happened in episode 1. It's which... Like, she went into the guest house looking for them. At least I'm almost certain that's what happened. Was that what the witch was laughing at? A smile floated to Beatrice's face, one different from the smile she'd shown Maria. Does my face seem familiar? If you stare so fixedly, you might burn a hole through it. I'm sorry. Those words triggered something very clearly in Rosa's mind. Rosa knew this face. She knew it from the portrait of the witch. But no, wait, could this mystery woman really be Maria? I give you this in exchange for the sweet you gave me. Ugh! A letter? The witch pulled a Western envelope from her pocket and gave it to Maria. However, when Maria made to open it, the witch stopped her. And there's the whole thing with the umbrella, too. You must not. The time will soon come for you to open it, but until then, you absolutely must not. Take good care of it. That will be your invitation to the Golden Land. The Golden Land! So you'll finally take me there? Take it and treat it with care. You must not show it to anyone. Ugh! I'll keep that promise. You've always got to keep promises with witches. And this is for you. Huh? Me? She probably hadn't imagined that the witch would speak to her too. Rosa was bewildered by the second Western envelope which had been thrust before her. There's 2 letters. She'd seen this type of envelope before. There could be no mistake. It was one of Kinzo's special envelopes, used when he wrote with his own hand and bearing the Ushiramiya family crest. It was sealed with red sealing wax, and furthermore, it had a mark that seemed to have been made by using the head's ring. In other words, even without asking what was inside this letter, Rosa knew that this woman, whom Maria called Beatrice, was trusted enough to be placed in charge of a personal letter of the current Ushiramiya head. It could have been any of the 4 siblings. However, the fact that I have met you here probably means that you're probably chosen by Kinzo's roulette. So take it. Then read its contents aloud while seated at the dinner table when all the siblings are gathered. What did you say? Rosa looked back and forth several times between the witch's face and the envelope that had been handed to her. Today was the family conference, and the biggest object of discussion would be the inheritance problem. So she had joined together with Ava and Rudolph. And they had planned to force a certain condition on Kraus to try to extort several 100 million yen in cash out of him. It was as if the witch could see through all of that. I need to reread that. I need to reread all of this. Now the question is I just have more questions now. Fuck me. I'm gonna assume that they read Rosa's letter, that Maria read Rosa's letter then. It was as if the witch could see through all of that. What does she intend to announce when all of us siblings are gathered? And with a personal envelope that no one but the Yoshira Mia head can use. Maria. The weather is getting worse. Return to the guest house and wait for lunchtime. And Rosa, we'll meet again. We will meet again later. Allow me to introduce myself again at that time. The witch turned her back to her, laughing. Then she began to head towards the mansion with an air of composure. Maria energetically called out and watched her go, then began to dash towards the guest house, leaving Rosa behind. As though she wanted to inform the other cousins of her fortunate meeting with the witch as soon as she could. We're getting told just a whole different story here. I'm pretty sure. At last, Rosa was left alone in the rose garden as the winds grew stronger, unable to do anything but pray that what happened was just a daydream. When the witch reached the entrance hall, Genji could be seen there. Genji welcomed the guest approaching from the entrance hall with a respectful bow. I've been waiting, Beatrice-sama. Oh, she got a new... The mysterious visitor and 19th person who appeared on the day of the family conference. She goes by the same name as the Golden Witch who gave the gold Kinzo. Her reasons for visiting are unknown. She was ushered into the VIP room, which no one has been allowed to use in the past. But she's not wearing the same outfit. I've been waiting, Beatrice-sama. It's been quite some time, Genji. You've gotten old. No matter how old it becomes, furniture carries out its work like furniture until the end. I remember how that man's wife used to be jealous of you. Okay, maybe Beatrice isn't his wife after all. I don't know. Or maybe she bore all the children and the mother wasn't really the mother at all? I don't know. That's still a total crack theory of mine, that she's actually their, like, grandmom. And they're part of the debt that she has to collect. I remember how that man's wife used to be jealous of you. Is Kinzo doing well? He's doing extremely well. The witch probably laughed because she knew Kinzo's own doctor had announced that Kinzo didn't have long to live. However, if anyone actually looked at Kinzo and noticed his vigor, which wasn't at all what you'd expect from someone nearing the end of his life, they might easily call that doing extremely well. Maybe that's what the witch was laughing at. Then let us go and greet him. I look forward to hurling curses at each other after 30 years. As the witch grinned, she started walking, leaving Genji behind. Her gait was like that of a family member who knew the inside of the mansion well. Genji followed her in the manner of one who served her. At that time, Kairi... Oh no! I wanted more. At that time, Kyrie came out of the parlor. She'd probably gone to fix her hair or makeup or something. And when she saw Genji following a witch, she was surprised, although her expression did not change. A guest for Kinzo had arrived, despite him being almost dead, on the day of the family conference when the fate of the inheritance was to be decided. And furthermore, this person was familiar enough with the Ashiramiya family household that Genji was following behind her. God, I'm absolutely throwing it back right now. Kairi immediately realized that this person she had never met before was deeply important. Kairi and the witch's eyes met. Realizing that it would be rude to pretend not to notice, she greeted the witch. It's a pleasure to meet you. You're Rudolph's second wife, yes? Correct. This is Kairi-sama, Rudolph-sama's current wife. From this exchange, Kairi realized that this was a guest of a fairly high rank, even amidst the Ashiramiya family. And the fact that this was a guest on that level, coupled with her resemblance to the portrait in the entrance hall, made Kairi's eyes instantly open wide. What? What? Pleased to meet you. I'm Kairi. I wonder if this is our first meeting. If we have met before, I apologize for forgetting your name. So you intend to force me to state my own name, even though you already have a vague idea of the answer? Kairi thought she'd given a sociable and humble greeting. Her expression grew slightly cloudy at that openly oppressive response. At any rate, this didn't seem to be a person she had grown to like. But if Kairi's guesses were correct, this witch probably held a vital key to what her own husband was most interested in. Something that couldn't help but influence tonight's family conference. So without shooting back a retort, Kairi silently watched her go up the stairs to the second floor with Genji following behind. So when someone tapped her shoulder from behind, she was so surprised she almost choked. It was Natsuhi. Kairi-san, why are you standing still in a place like this? Are you not feeling well? I'm sorry, I was just fascinated by the portrait of the witch for a bit. No, you mean the golden witch, Beatrice? The one whose gold was supposedly necessary for the revived Ushiramiya family we see today? Quite a fantastical story. Just what one might expect from father. Natsui spoke in a perfectly ordinary way. It was the sort of comment you'd expect from someone convinced that the thought of a witch existing was ridiculous, no more than another of Kinzo's ramblings. However, for some reason, that point of view didn't seem quite right to Kairi now. Just a moment ago, she herself had seen the Golden Witch come in from the entrance hall and climb up the stairs. So Natsui's words made it feel as though someone was trying to deny the existence of that person, or else make it seem like she was never there to begin with. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm getting a bit of a headache. I'll rest for a little while. Oh, is that so? Then I have some good headache medicine. I'll get it for you. Oh, we do get more. Okay, that's good. The hallway in front of Kinzo's study was filled with the scent of sweet poison, peculiar to that green color, that green liquor. Liquor, oh my gosh. Genji, who was completely used to it, did not grimace. And the Golden Witch didn't grimace either. How long has he been there since he last left? Since last he left. How long has he been in there since last he left? I believe it has already been several years. Is he that desperate to turn me into a bird in a cage? How pitiful. By now, you're the bird in the cage. You're the ghost of the study, are you not? How pitiful that he is unable to recognize even that. Until he meets you again, he probably will continue his research, even after literally becoming a ghost. Is it love or madness or a delusion? And yet, perhaps even those can form magical power when. And yet, perhaps even those can form magical power when strong enough. You sad magician. The witch grasped the doorknob to the study. When she did, there was a sound like that of flesh burning and splitting open. It was the sound of the doorknob literally burning the witch's hand. Beatrice Saba. What is it? What is this? A ward against magic. Is that person unable to get by without relying on something like this? What is her face? Damn, she's shook by it. I have heard that this door would cause you great pain, Beatrice Saba. Shall I open it? No, it's fine. If he wins, I will be a bird in a cage for all eternity. If he loses, only the life of a laughingstock will be left, the life of a pitiful magician who went mad with love and lost everything. Already, Kinzo and I are nothing more than pieces laid out on the game board. All that is left is for the roulette to decide who wins and who loses. Until the roulette shows its result, there is no need for me and Kinzo to meet again. The witch looked at her hand, which was beginning to heal bit by bit, even though it had been horribly burned. Or perhaps that is why he has this ward here in the first place. Yes, perhaps even that is honorable in its own way. By now, everything sits on top of Kinzo's game board. I like it, Kinzo. She has a very triangular smile. Allow me to enjoy my game with you. Allow me to enjoy the failure of the final gamble of the old magician who fell in love with me and threw away his entire life. Are we gonna watch them get killed? It's 1 a.m. I think we're gonna watch them die. I think we're gonna watch like 6 people die right now. Oh fuck. It's gonna be fucking crazy. Who is it? Excuse me. I've brought lunch. Oh, it's lunchtime. It's 1 p.m., not 1 a.m. Okay. That would make a lot of sense now that I think about it. The time is important in this game. They wouldn't be showing me that clock if it wasn't for a reason. Enter. Excuse me. Okay, I think this is gonna be the first time in the VIP room. After receiving approval, Cannon entered the VIP room, pushing the serving cart that carried lunch. The servants called this room the witch's VIP room. That was because Kinzo strictly ordered that it was always to be kept clean, so that it could be used at any time. Even so, would not be allowed into this room no matter who they were. That's why, at some point, the servants had started calling it the VIP room, which was supposed to be set aside only to welcome the special person Kinzo waited for, the witch from that portrait. And today, Canon realized that this was absolutely true. When he entered the room, the blonde-haired witch was gazing out the window. Outside, the rain was no longer falling weakly. As she looked out at that beautiful rose garden, which had been tended to over several days, which had been tended to for over several days for today's sake. As she saw the winds and rain ravage it, was she struck by some sentimental feelings? Canon was not able to tell anything more from her back, which faced him. I will prepare the meal, Beatrice-sama. Cam went out of his way to call out the witch's name, hoping that she'd turn around. He wanted to know if the witch who'd tempted him and Shannon in the past had really appeared again. When he did, the witch whose name had been called laughed, her back still facing him. Holding back her voice, she laughed. Canon was startled. It was almost as though she had read his mind and knew that he had called out to her, hoping to make her turn around. It smells good. It appears Kraus hired a good cook. Yes. He is called Goda and was employed here recently. There's nothing better than being skilled at cooking. Delicious food completes the 3 pillars of pleasure for living in the human world. It is the secret to preventing boredom after 1,000 years. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Canon and the witch's eyes met. Then she grinned. Without a doubt, certainly, this was clearly the witch from that day, Beatrice. The witch that no one but he and Shannon could see in the past finally held a form and had arrived openly as a guest through the entrance hall. Beatrice-sama. It has been a long time, Canon, the furniture. It has been quite some time. Canon tried to remember to be polite to this guest for the time being, but the visit of this suspicious witch made the dark clouds start to enshroud his heart, especially considering that today was the family conference. You seem to be uneasy about what I plan to do now that I have appeared. Am I right? Canon didn't force an answer. This witch probably reads minds, so it's pointless to go to the trouble of saying it out loud. Of course, she could read even his inner resistance. So the witch giggled at Canon's childish defiance. I came to fulfill my final promise with Kinzo. Your final promise with the master? I lent Kinzo a mountain of gold. When Kinzo gives that up, it will be returned to me with interest. I came to accept that interest tonight. I don't know what you're talking about. However, uncertainty began to gather in his heart. Whatever this witch had to say, it couldn't be anything good. Cackle, cackle, cackle. There's no mistake. Whenever witches have something to say, it's never anything good. You are correct. However, like scissors, the potential of witches depends entirely on how they're used. Sometimes there are those like King Solomon who succeeded in great exploits. However, most who make use of us end up meeting a cruel fate, just like in fairy tales. Cackle, cackle. But Kinzo is crafty. He has incorporated even the collection of the interest into his ceremony. Is he an absurdly powerful magician who can surpass even me? Or else a mere fool possessed by madness? Amusing. Truly amusing. Canon couldn't guess what the witch was muttering and laughing about. All he knew was that anything that made this witch laugh must have the exact opposite meaning for everyone else. In the back of his mind, the horrifying words the witch had spat at him in the past began to resurface. What, did you think I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in exchange? I'll gladly assist a pair in love, and in exchange, I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate they'll eventually meet. I have never come across a better show, not over the course of 1,000 years. Could it be that you... Behold, the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. The witch suddenly began to recite a bizarre poem. It was something he remembered hearing. Could it be the witch's epitaph? There was no mistake. It was the epitaph that accompanied the portrait of the witch Kinzo had put on display. The relatives had guessed that it referred to the location of the hidden gold, but no one knew what it meant for sure. The witch suddenly began reciting that epitaph. Canon. Since you are furniture, I imagine you've heard about it from Kinzo. The day when everything will be returned to the Golden Land has come. Rejoice. The day when you will be freed from the shame of living as furniture has finally arrived. I believe you've wanted that for a long time. To furniture, which finds no value in its own existence, merely existing day to day must be nothing but agony. To those with souls, this world is worth clinging to, but those without souls find this world to be full of nothing but suffering. Cackle, cackle. Complicated expressions flitted across Cannon's face. This was the day of release that Cannon had been looking forward to. However, the coming of this day had been mercilessly sudden, and for some reason he didn't like the hateful tone used by the witch as she informed him of the coming of this long-awaited day of rest. Cannon couldn't even decide what emotion he should be feeling. Why do you not rejoice? Could you actually have some regrets left in the real world? As mere furniture, I have no regrets, because I am furniture. Ha 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 ha. You truly are a model specimen of furniture. How nice, how nice. However, it won't be any fun if you have no regrets at all. Are you saying regrets are how you find pleasure? That is correct. Most witches who live for 1,000 years get tired of life. In order to escape boredom, I adorn people's fates with fruit and brandy and cook them like cakes. I find humans dancing through oppressive fates inside an oven to be so very entertaining. Cackle, cackle. You see, I'm actually a tad famous in this regard. So much so that rare guests come from far away to see my skill at cooking. Perhaps this is something that mere furniture cannot understand. Cannon couldn't understand what the witch was saying. However, he realized that this was a terrifying being who treated the fate of humans as a show, enjoying it whether some harm befell them. However, furniture has no soul or life, much less a fate. Pitiful furniture does nothing but serve until the day they're released from the real world. To furniture like that, the witch who had come to release them from everything was a being to be received with overflowing affection. Even though the day Cannon should have been waiting impatiently for had come, he was confused by his own ability to accept it easily. Why was it? The face of Shannon, the person he loved as a sister, rose to his mind, and for some reason Jessica's face did too. Cannon bit his lower lip hard enough that it hurt. Thinking about Jessica like that was something Furniture must never do. Even though he thought he'd known that, even though he'd complained about Shannon's relationship. Why was it that Jessica rose into his mind at a time like this? He felt a little shameful of his own naivete. And to forget about Jessica, he turned his thoughts to Shannon. Shannon is also Furniture. She has no reason not to rejoice at the coming of the day when all will return to nothingness. But Shannon, through her relationship with George, has experienced an emotion forbidden to Furniture. Even though she isn't qualified to be bonded with him, she's still trapped in a dream that she isn't allowed to have. Will Shannon be able to joyfully accept this development? No, she won't. Shannon still has lingering regrets. Those will probably become a great source of pain and torture for her. And those lingering regrets were planted by none other than this witch. Why? Because that would be more interesting? Nothing more? Oh, is that in dialogue brackets? No. Brackets? No. Oh my gosh. This day, that Shannon should have been waiting impatiently for, will probably be a harsh burden for her. Oh, poor Shannon. Giving her emotions that she must never experience. I thank you for greeting me, us Furniture, the day of our release. And I hate you for making this day so difficult for Shannon to accept. I wanted to make you suffer from your regrets as well, just like Shannon. However, you continued to live like Furniture with foolish honesty, never getting ensnared by me. And yet, it seems you love Shannon a little too dearly, right? Shannon's regrets are now your regrets. Will those feelings transform into hatred for me? If you wish to kill me, give it a try. As Kinzo's Furniture, you should have at least that much power, right? However, if you kill me, then the day of rest for Furniture will not come for all eternity. Could you bear to live with that? Are you truly capable of resisting when I tried to release you? Kneel. What? Kneel and kiss my shoes. Otherwise, I will leave this place. I'll go back and never show myself again for all eternity. So, Cannon, do you think you could bear to live like that? If the door to the Golden Land is opened, your hard life as Furniture will end. If you desire, I can even give you life as a human. This is my golem theory. This is my golem theory. Homunculus theory. Gizo's servants actually are just freaking, like, golems. Homunculus theory. If you desire, I can even give you life as a human. After that, you'll be on the same level as Jessica. Surely you want to experience the taste of love. There's no point in trying to hide it. After seeing Shannon indulging in the sea of sweet love, you be jealous. You are sorely tempted to know the taste of love. Stop it. Stop it! Are you trying to ensnare me again? I won't be reduced to a toy for your amusement. Oh. Then I will be satisfied with Shannon alone. After all, you aren't the only one who was implanted with a seed. Even fruiting plants sometimes fail to bear fruit after all. The one who obtains the key must travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules. On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. The witch recited the epitaph again. It was so sudden and diverged so strongly from the current topic. However, that challenging smile made it seem almost as though she was using that epitaph as a threat against Canon. Do you not understand? For the ceremony of the epitaph to succeed at the second twilight, 2 who are close must be offered as sacrifices. It could be any 2 who are close, a husband and a wife, or even a pair of lovers. According to the rules of the ceremony, who will be selected is up to me to decide on a whim. Don't you think there could be no more fitting sacrifice for the second twilight than Shannon as she is now? That's what I thought was going to happen. But that's not what happened. You dirty. Cannon realized something. Until today, he thought he'd given up everything else and lived as furniture, acting like furniture. But in reality, that wasn't true. He loved Shannon too dearly. Therefore, when Shannon was in pain, Cannon shared that. If only Shannon had continued to live as furniture, indifferently like Cannon, without any regrets in this world, he wouldn't have had to be in so much pain. The witch planned to toy with Shannon, who had known the taste of love. No, whom she had taught the taste of love, as she killed her. She wouldn't be welcomed into the Golden Land and granted a compassionate release. Instead, if the witch had her way, she'd just be used as a sacrifice, subjected to the utmost of torture and pain, and forcibly turned into a human foundation for this evil ceremony. And this witch would probably make Shannon meet this horrible fate for no reason other than that it was amusing to her. Furthermore, she was threatening to do this so that she could make Cannon, who had never submitted to the witch, finally give in. It was that simple. In the end, though he had tried to resist the witch and avoid pleasing her, he had only made things much more amusing for her. After all, he was furniture, no a toy. They were nothing but toys meant only to distract her from her boredom. Damn. What will you do, Cannon? If you kneel, I might refrain from choosing Shannon as a sacrifice. See? Cackle, cackle. I've always wanted to make a toy, like you surrender someday. Cackle, cackle, cackle. Hey. Without even a fragment of elegance, the witch sneered at Cannon and laughed indecently. That's right, she predicted Cannon's submission even before he'd made that decision himself. Cannon chose to get down on both knees in front of the witch. Why don't you just punch her face or something, dude? It didn't matter what happened to himself. However, the one thing he couldn't bear to see was Shannon, who had given him his only reason to live during his days as furniture, being toyed with like this. That was why kissing the shoes of the witch was an easy oath for Cannon to make. When his quivering lips actually touched the witch's shoe, Beatrice let a look of ecstasy rise to her face, and laughed with a voice filled to bursting. Red text, it's back! The spooky red text is back. At that moment, the witch, who had grown bored of life after 1,000 years, was completely filled with the evil emotion that she lived for. That's where I'm gonna end today. There is so much shit going on in this game. It's crazy. Alright. Well, that was fun stream. See ya.